Right, a video on how to tie a pulley pennal. This is a great summer rig, especially when the bigger species are coming into play around British waters. Catch absolutely everything on these. You only need to change very few components to sort of adjust between what you're after. Right, so starting at the bottom end, this is going to be your lead link. You can use absolutely anything for these. These are just like a Gemini one. These are the Trident Thermalinks. These are great. You can also crimp these, so you don't have to tie a knot, which is wonderful. But obviously you run the risk of the crimp coming loose and obviously losing everything on the end, but it is an option. Then these are the different pulleys that you can use. Again, this is a Trident pulley. They do another alternative to this, which is like a figure of 8 one. This is just the standard one. You can get these in different colours as well, which is nice now. This is a Gemini one, I believe, Gemini pulley bead. Again, really simple, nice big plastic runner, so it doesn't damage your line in any way. You can also use just a standard swivel. I know a few people that use these, especially if you're running the risk of that you're going to be losing anything and you don't want to lose it. These are just a cheaper alternative. The only downside to these is they can kink your line when it's running through. So obviously that's something to keep in mind, that you could potentially snap the rig body, which is obviously not what you want to do. A few beads. These are just to stop it in place where it needs to be. Swivel to attach your hook link, and then 2 hooks. These can be obviously any size that you want or any pattern that you want. These are just ones that sort of standard. These are 3/0s, Aberdeens. You can go a lot smaller, obviously, if you're fishing for smaller species. There is different hook patterns like the Chinooks and circle hooks that you can use with a dongle. They've all got their sort of pros and cons, but these are just my sort of standard go-to. I'm fishing clean ground, so I haven't really got to worry too much about snags. You're also going to need hook link material. This is just 30-pound amnesia. It gives a bit more abrasion resistance, especially if you're bringing in anything sort of half decent. It just protects you a little bit more. You can go 25, but the 30 is what I've got. And then obviously rig body material. 90% of my rig bodies are made out of this. I don't tend to go any higher, purely because I am fishing clean ground, and I don't really need anything too heavy. There's a lot of the boys that are fishing up the coast that are using sort of 80, 100, 120 pound leaders and rig bodies, but I'm not anywhere near as rough as what they are. Right, so to get started, you want to cut your leader material. I've cut mine already. As you probably, if you've watched any of my previous videos, know, it's about 1 metre. It's my sort of standard go-to rig, not too long, not too short, just easy. Right, so lead clip I like to start with, just a 4-turn blood knot, 5-turn blood knot, whichever one you prefer. Just keep it simple, because these are very, very simple rigs to tie up, and you don't need a lot of practice with them, to be fair. Just cut that off just like that. Then your pulley bead or swivel of choosing. Just going to use the Trident one for today. Oh, sorry, before you do that, bead, then your pulley bead, swivel bead, whichever, and another swivel, sorry, bead. And the last thing will be your snood swivel. And that is the rig body done. Everything on there, really simple, nothing fancy. They're very cheap to do, and you can do a lot of them fast. Next thing, leader material. Like I said before, this is just £30 amnesia. It just gives me a little bit more abrasion resistance. 3, 4, 5. Just another 5-turn blood knot back through. Makes it easier to see on video with the bigger hooks as well. Cut that tag end off. Now, I have got a ruler on the bench, or you can use something like the jig. But these, really simple, you don't need to really. As long as this length is shorter than the length of your main body, you're normally okay. So hence why the measuring. I can measure that one out, I can measure this one out, and you don't really have to test it. And you know it's sort of going to work. I'm just going to measure this one now quickly along the bench. This will be just under, the rig body was 1 metre, so this one I'm going to do at about 900mm, just to give me a little bit of line spare so the pulley works. Now, the reason there was 3 beads in the first shot is some people like to put a bead down this here to protect this knot. I change my hooks and my hook links very regularly, near enough after every session. Hooks get blunt, hook links get damaged or nicked or abrasion on them, so I like to change them. So I've never had too much problem with this not getting damaged to the point of where it breaks. But for argument's sake, you can add a bead down this so it sits just like that before we put the next hook on, and it just gives a little bit of buffer there, especially if you get a fish on the top hook. It's pulling down on the bead rather than on the knot. A soft silicone bead would be more ideal, but I haven't got any. I don't really tend to use them, to be fair. Next thing, your top hook, go through the back. I like to go through the back of the hook. Some people like to go through the front, but I find it just sits better. And then when you come to do your bait, you just twirl this one around a few times, pull it tight, and your bait will be over them 2 hooks. This one will be in the top, this one will be in the bottom somewhere, and this bead is just, when this hook slides down, it protects that bead a little bit more. Then last thing, all you've got to do, the swivel that you've left for your snood on your rig body, is just tie that on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a 5-turn again. Oh, sorry, knocked the camera over there. Pull that tight, clip that tag end, and that is the rig finished. All you've got to do is attach your lead. I'm going to put it in the jig now, just to make 100% sure that it does work. But you can hang these up. You can put your lead on here. Now these you can use with like the breakaway impact leads that you don't necessarily need something extra, which I tend to do, to be fair. But as before, on this jig I've just got the Trident Roto, which is what I will be using, so it's a good demonstration really. And then your hook just goes in there like that. Everything's all up this end. I've got a little gap here, which allows the tension to be taken by the main line. Now some people do the snood line the same as the rig body, which it doesn't really make too much difference. I do prefer the lighter lines, but that's just my style of fishing. Everyone's sort of different. And then obviously this, when it impacts, shoots up, and hooked in the arm, because they are very sharp hooks. Everything releases, your bait's in the water, and then when the fish takes your bait, it pulls that main line out, gives you a bit of better bite indication. Obviously it wouldn't be on an elastic band when you're fishing, it'd be attached to your main line. And yeah, that's that. Very simple to do, very low on components, especially if you're going to be fishing somewhere snaggy. These are a lot better for that, because you're not worrying about losing loads of money, because I'm tight and I don't want to be doing that. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.